Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. Fight of the year is what some people say. I mean, I don't know. It will be if Kaye Scott shot the big vote. So who's making a big mistake? Is Claressa making a mistake by melting over 40 pounds? 40 pounds in what would be a 21-week camp. She can say what she wants. She already told on herself. She started 12 weeks prior to doing that press conference. Then from the press conference to now, I think she had 9 weeks. So 21 weeks to get ready for Kaye Scott, who has 7 fights, 5 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 0 knockouts. Who the hell needs 21 weeks to get ready for somebody who's 42 years old and only has 7 fights? You know what I'm saying? And 0 knockouts. Anyway, let's do like Detective Oso. And let's go ahead and zoom me out. And let's zoom in. What's really most important are these ladies. Well, one lady and one crocodile. The business behind the fight. Everybody's trying to understand, where the hell Kaye Scott came from, how there's money in this fight. Looking at Claressa Shields, feeling that she's destroyed her brand. They're like, yo, the money, the promotion, the Shields brand, the Scott brand, what's going on, Hood Champion? Well, I'm just going to tell you, we now know, or we believe, that Claressa Shields is in the 360 deal. So whatever she does, win records, papoose, they get a piece of whatever she does. That's totally separate from Dimitri Salita as her boxing promoter, who still gets his percentage of her purse. So it seems to be like there's more hands in the pot. But it also seems that the goal is to really, instead of looking at Claressa as a brand, look at her as more as brand entertainment to generate multiple revenue streams where Claressa, depending on how much money she makes, she can make money, more money, but also the people who are involved in her career and supposed to put her in these positions to make more money, they get a percentage as well. But the bottom line is I think she should have stayed in a traditional contract. Just her, Dimitri Salita, whatever they have in the contract, that's what she's obligated to. Whatever money she makes outside of boxing, that's her money, unless the contract states otherwise. With the 360 deal, she still has a contract with the promoter. He gets his percentage, but anything she does outside of boxing, she now has to get a papoose and win records. And that shit sucks. Unless they can take her and have her making $300 million a year, something crazy. But it doesn't seem like that's happened. Now, the fight's not just about championships. It's also about the business surrounding Claressa Shields, like we were just talking about. Her reported multi-fight partnership with Salita and Win Records demonstrates that there is a growing effort to turn Shields into a larger entertainment brand, like I just stated. Now with Kaye Scott, Aussie, oi. She brings championship credentials of her own, but Shields brings name recognition and a massive existing audience who either likes her or doesn't like her, who will pay or who may not pay. But the bottom line is Claressa is famous. Okay? Now, can the event generate major revenue? I don't know, because although Claressa is famous, she's not respected by many. You know what I'm saying? People are split on that, but the majority, they don't respect her. So as far as the event generating major revenue, I guess we'll find out. They did try to stack the event with Zeus bringing on the baddies and bringing on Ray J and Orlando Wilson and having some bouncers fight. There's a whole lot of talk about Floyd Mayweather being there. Shaquille Stevenson shows up in most of her stuff. Adrian Broner and Dean the Great, they're kind of hot right now, having them be there. But I mean, this is all low-hanging fruit. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you go see Denzel Washington strolling through there, Jack Nicholson strolling through there, Shaquille O'Neal strolling through there. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to see Jim Carrey strolling through there. You know what I mean? This is the old school shit I remember when watching HBO boxing. You used to see everybody from the sports world to Hollywood and in between at these events. And the reason I don't think you're going to see it like that is because Claressa Shields has not increased her market value. but they're hoping to do that with this fight. They also are wondering if Scott can establish herself as a major attraction. This is what fans want to know. And does the winner become the bigger commercial property? I'm going to tell you, in my opinion, if Kaye Scott wins, she becomes the bigger commercial property. She's got the look, she's got the attitude, she's got the professionalism, she's got the accolades. She just has everything that I think a promoter would want, that a brand would want, that anybody who is trying to is looking at an athlete as a commercial property, she has it. So this is boxing, but it's also about business. Looking at Kaye Scott, she looked like she handles her business. Looking at Claressa, it looks like she's fumbled her business with them three stooges she got over there. Now, Kaye Scott, let's be real. Can she pull off the upset? This is boxing. Anything can happen. All right? The best fighter doesn't win. It's the boxer who fights the best on that night. And there's always an underdog blueprint. Scott doesn't need to become Claressa Shields. She doesn't need to be Layla Ali, Muhammad Ali. All she has to do is be herself. Kaye Scott's not known for floating like a butterfly and stinging like a bee. You know what I mean? What she needs to be known for on this night is making Shields uncomfortable. And there is an ideal strategy, you know? Jab, move, counter, reset. But a strong jab, fast jab, educated jab is going to be extremely important, especially with her having a reach advantage, height advantage. She won't have the speed advantage, but if she has worked on her timing in camp, a strong educated jab, she can keep Claressa honest, force her to reset, especially if she incorporates feints. She can discourage Claressa Shields and force Claressa Shields to stop, not fight instinctively and have to think. And that's where that half a second of not knowing exactly what you want to do is going to give Kaye Scott a lot of opportunities. Can she capitalize? I don't know. But she needs to prevent Shields from establishing sustained pressure. She can't let Shields get in her rhythm, get the momentum going, and establish sustained pressure. If Scott can consistently control distance and win the exchanges, she can make the fight extremely competitive. However, I do think the first 3 rounds is going to be all hell for Kaye Scott because Claressa is a demon. She is going to come out there fighting like a crocodile. But I'll tell you this, after 3 rounds, I think Claressa Shields could tire her. She's losing over 40 pounds, people. I don't care who you are. At some point, man, the body just doesn't cooperate. The mind is saying do this and the body is saying kiss my ass. So for Scott, she got to recognize and understand, hey, first 3 rounds, I just got to get through them. And after that, I can start to control the distance. I have to make sure that the first couple of rounds, I don't get trapped against the ropes. And as the subsequent rounds come, I had to make sure the same thing. I got to be ready to counter Shields' entries. We know Claressa Shields is going to come in like a damn crazy woman. She's going to be like a torpedo, just firing. But she got to counter her when she comes in. She got to stay composed under pressure the whole fight. And she's got to finish rounds strongly. Especially the first 3 rounds, I think is going to be very difficult. She can't afford to look like she's badly hurt because I think the referee could jump in and stop it. The bottom line is Kaye Scott is known for having an emergency CT scan on her brain and skull a few years ago. She was cleared of any damage, anything to be worried about. But she did return and pick up some titles, so she's okay. But still, I'm sure this will be on the mind of everybody. Excuse me. Over here sneezing, I didn't want y'all to hear me sneezing. Now, as far as Claressa, can she win? Yes, she can win this fight. She's supposed to win the fight. There's a championship blueprint here. The one, I think, for Claressa, don't chase Scott. Claressa does have a tendency of chasing people around the ring. She needs to cut that ring off. Make Scott move towards the danger. Block the escape routes. Know which shots to throw to control Kaye Scott, to keep her in front of you. She got to do like Canelo Alvarez. She got to do like Terrence Crawford. You know what I mean? She got to do like Triple G. Force exchanges, attack the body, then increase the pressure as the fight progresses. Now for Claressa, we want to see that jab. We want to see her control the center. We want to see her cut off the ring, attack the body, and increase the pressure late. If Shields forces Scott into prolonged exchanges, that's going to favor Claressa. Her combination punching could become the difference. Yo, hold on 1 second. I'll blow this nose. Hood champion is sick. Back to business. You know, this is not a track meet. Shields needs to make this a fight. But I'll tell you what, if Claressa Shields is out here chasing after Kaye Scott, after Claressa has had this hard 40-pound weight cut, well, she's going to burn up valuable energy. And next thing you know, Kaye Scott, who may be in better overall condition, all of a sudden she has opportunities. And Claressa can't afford for that to happen. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if the fight goes to a decision, even if Claressa wins, that's going to be considered a loss. You know what I'm saying? Now for Kaye Scott, how can she win? I just think if there was a perfect game plan, I just think she can't stand in front of Claressa Shields. Let's just be real. She cannot stand in front of Claressa Shields. She got to make Claressa Shields work. Every time Shields move forwards, she got to counter. Every time Shields attack, use angles to get out of there. Every time Shields gets close, reset the distance and use that jab. So Scott has to somehow turn the fight into a tactical chess match. Now, these are really lofty goals we're talking about here, because we're talking about her championship level experience and overall boxing pedigree compared to Claressa Shields. I'd like to say there's no comparison. But at the same time, you just never know. Because if she allows Shields to dictate the physical exchanges, I'm telling you, she's going to lose control. She's going to lose the fight. And she may get violently knocked out. Scott needs discipline for every second of every round. She needs to be dialed in. Now, as far as the legacy on the line, what does victory mean? Well, for Big Walt, another championship victory strengthens her historic resume. Whether you agree with her going up multiple weight divisions, winning titles, doesn't matter. When you look at the black and white, it's there. You know what I'm saying? But I do know most people expect her to win, and she won't get much credit because she's melting 40 pounds for a reason. She's coming down to fight Kaye Scott for a reason. And I really think it's like I've said in other videos, Claressa's looking for a highlight reel knockout because she's still competing with Layla and what Layla accomplished. Competing with Amanda and what she's accomplished and about to accomplish by making history. And her very next opponent that she's going to knock out, I think the fight's on August 22nd. And she's here competing with Alicia Baumgardner, who fights at 130. But Alicia Baumgardner, she drops people and has the ability to knock somebody out. Claressa doesn't have the ability to do anything in that ring except for chicken peck, coochie coo, and tickle. But if she were to lose, I don't think the loss would erase her accomplishments, but it would definitely create questions about the next chapter of her career and about who she really fought, I would say, after Savannah Marshall. Now, for Kaye Scott, if she clips Big Walt, she could completely transform her legacy, man. It will become the defining victory of her career, and this may be the biggest upset in boxing history, male or female. I'm just being real with you. You see, Claressa Shields, she got to protect the legacy. Scott is trying to create a legacy at 42. they'll be mentioning her alongside George Foreman, man, Bernard Hopkins. You see what I'm saying? One night can change how boxing history remembers both of these women. And I think if Kaye Scott loses, I was supposed to lose. I continue my boxing career. OnlyFans, I'm up and away, chilling with my family back in Australia, full of love. Claressa loses. Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? I won't be nowhere in the vicinity if Claressa Shields loses, because she's gonna be out here going buck wild. I bet you 100% Claressa be running up and down the road biting people and shit. She'll go crazy. I feel bad for Papoose. Papoose, because she's gonna have some shit to deal with. You see, there's a lot of pressure of expectations here. You have the favorite against the challenger. Shields carries the pressure of being expected to win. Scott carries the pressure of proving people wrong. Those are two completely different psychological environments, man. The favorite can feel like she has everything to lose. The underdog can feel like she has everything to gain. So, who is going to display emotional control? One person who seems to be calm, cool, and collective is Kaye Scott. The other one who seems to have the ass on fire all the time is Claressa Shields. So I think the fighter who handles pressure better may outperform the fighter with the better resume. But the first 3 rounds, I'm gonna keep talking about it. Kaye Scott is gonna have some kind of emotional control because Claressa is gonna try to bomb rush her. She's gonna try to do it like Daniel Jacobs did Peter Quillen. Catch her cold, catch her being uncomfortable. She's gonna be in front of that crowd in Atlanta. A lot of black people. Who knows what's gonna be going on? Maybe they're cheering for Kaye Scott, maybe they're not. Should be some Australians in the crowd. You know, you just don't know what's gonna go on, how she's gonna feel. You don't know. But I tell you what, if she can get through the first 3 rounds, she has that emotional control. But then now Claressa, she has to show emotional control now. Because she's gonna be in there like, damn, I can't hurt her. I can't get her out of here. She got the crowd watching her. Everybody's expecting her to knock out the Australian. And all of a sudden, the Australian's in the fight. So even if they start off with the crowds cheering for Claressa, they're going to start cheering for Kaye Scott. And that's going to bother Claressa, especially if the crowd starts chanting, Remy, Remy. You know what Claressa going to do? Man, please, Remy mine here. Where's she at? Papoose back. Get your ass over here. Remy here. Why she in here? Be like, the corner be like, Big Whoa. Focus on the fight. Hell no, man. Why they chanting for Remy? Remy in here. Where's she at? Be like, focus on Kaye Scott. Man, please. Oh, boy. Let me tell you, the crowd is going to know about Remy Ma, Claressa, Papoose, Outside Women, 360 deal. Social media just has everybody kind of abreast of what the hell's going on with goddamn Claressa Shields. She has been out here on social media just acting the fool for about a year straight. You know what I'm saying? But boxing has become personal. And we understand that. And social media has created that avenue for people to come out here and say what they want to say and act how they want to act. And that's why even I understand modern fight promotion, it doesn't stop at the arena. Social media creates an additional battlefield. Interviews, clips, confrontations, and controversial statements can create interest long before a fight night. And Shields is already one of boxing's most outspoken personalities. And she's already gone on record and said that when it comes to Kaye Scott, you know, she's looking to hurt her. And it is what it is. A lot of people didn't like hearing her say that. But that's what she said, you know. She's ended the fight. She wants to hurt these girls. That's what she did to Franchon Cruz's her and whipped her ass. And here on the 15th of August is not going to be any different when she gets into with Kaye Scott. But I'm going to tell you this, Scott has an opportunity to use the spotlight because there's a huge spotlight on Kaye Scott right now. And no matter what, as long as she competes, she makes the fight competitive. Even if she loses, she introduces herself to a much larger audience that's going to want to see her again. But there's always a danger when we're talking about social media and trash talking and all that. Too much talking can create emotional distractions. This is what I was talking about with Claressa. She seems to thrive in chaos, thrive in confusion. She seems to be the classic definition of someone who takes it to the stupid. But the real answer will come when the bell rings to see who has been locked in, who won't be distracted. So social media creates the fight. The ring settles it. And we're gonna find out this Saturday who's gonna come out victorious. And I think the coaches decide everything. You know what I'm saying? Fighters execute, coaches analyze. We all know about Claressa's coach, John David Jackson. I think he's a two-weight division champion. He was a really good fighter. Don't know much about Kaye Scott's team. But what we do know is fighters execute, coaches analyze. Between rounds, the corner has approximately 1 minute to identify problems and provide solutions. Imagine Scott struggling to keep Shields off her. Her corner must find an answer immediately. If Shields can't cut the ring off, her corner needs to correct the problem. And I'm going to tell you right now, the winning corner must recognize what's working, what's not working, what the opponent is changing, what needs to change next. So it boils down to the game plan. A great game plan means nothing without great adjustments. Who can make adjustments on the spot? You know, you have to give that to Claressa Shields, but at the same time, you don't know what Kaye Scott has been working on, and if she'll be able to make the right adjustments at the right time to make the fight competitive, close the talent gap, and possibly shock the world. Now, we're in fight week. You know what I'm saying? I think what's today? Wednesday? So we're only like, what, 4 days away, something like that? Fight week changes everything, especially in the last 72 hours. The interviews should become more intense. Cameras should be appearing everywhere. The final press conference will create headlines. Then comes the weigh-in. Stare down, final face-off. At that point, preparation is finished. There's nothing else they can do except get in there and handle business. You know what I'm saying? Nowhere left to hide. So I'm going to be watching. Who looks relaxed? Who looks nervous? Sorry, didn't want to sneeze in the microphone. Who looks angry? And who looks completely focused? So sometimes the smallest facial expression becomes a headline. And we're going to look to see. Because I'm wondering if Claressa is going to be foolish enough to try to shove Kaye Scott and turn this into another Franchon Cruz fiasco. That's what I want to see. I don't think she'll do it though. I think even her team knows. She better not put her hands on that Australian. Better not touch her. Because this could create an international incident within boxing. And Claressa, I 100% believe that'll be the opportunity that I think those key decision makers behind the scenes are waiting on to kick her ass out the sport. So, what would happen? What's going to happen when the fight takes place? I don't know. But I would think the first 2 rounds, Scott will use movement. Shields is in there trying to attack her, maybe searching for range, get her shots off. Maybe the first 2 rounds go like that. Shields has a lot of success. 3 through 4, Shields trying to cut the ring off, increasing pressure. Starts to fatigue a bit. All of a sudden, Scott starts to land some shots using that range, using that reach. And now we got a fight. Claressa Shields still has an edge. Rounds 5 through 6, all of a sudden the fight becomes more physical because Claressa's kind of slowing down a bit. The fatigue sets in. The weight cut is starting to show up. And Kaye Scott being bigger, what looks to be stronger, in a better condition. Now they're clinching more. Kaye Scott is kind of bullying Claressa Shields, trying to push her back. But Claressa, they're both using a lot of energy, trying to impose their physicality on each other. All of a sudden, round 7 through 8, Scott's movement and condition starts to show up. Claressa's huffing and puffing. This becomes very critical and a pivotal point in the fight. Rounds 9 through 10, Shields finally gets her second win, attempts to finish strong. Scott's looking for counters. The crowd's going buck wild. And the key question here who's going to be able to still execute their strategy in the championship rounds, especially if um, neither one of them get knocked out. You'd have to wonder who is going to be able to pull that off. And I'm going to tell you, I think the person who should be able to pull that off, you want to say Claressa, but I think is the person who's in a better condition. You're not tired. Because I tell you what, your mind and body got to be in sync. If you're tired, your body's not going to do what your mind's telling it. That's why you have to train and try to create those scenarios. Fighting while tired under pressure. That way, when you get in the real fight, you know what to do. And I don't know if Kaye Scott is going to be ready for that. Now, judging the fight, I don't know. As far as judges becoming a story, I think if Claressa wins, it's pretty straightforward. Knockout or unanimous decision. But if all of a sudden the fight's competitive and it goes a split decision, it could be some controversy, Judges evaluate effective aggression, clean punching, defense, and ring generalship. So that creates potential disagreements when styles clash. A pressure fighter may appear dominant because they're coming forward. A boxer may appear dominant because they're landing cleaner punches and controlling distance. That's why every close round matters. So the lesson, don't leave rounds to interpretation. Take it out of the hands of the judges. You lose your right to complain when you don't get the knockout. So both of them need to win rounds clearly or get a knockout. Now, what comes after Kaye Scott for Big Whoa? Well, I'll tell you what, regardless of the result, Claressa Shields' future could include major championship opportunities at multiple weight divisions. Now, the Lauren Price fight, it doesn't sound like that's going to happen anymore. But that is a fight that she was talking about. But I just think the ship sailed on that because Claressa is now talking about going back to heavyweight. I think the reason why she's doing that is because, one, she's more comfortable there. Two, she takes a lot of pride in talking about her big lobster tail, her butt. But at the same time, she did mention Tab Tabo. And maybe Claressa is going to hang around at 160 because if she picks up the 2 titles off Kaye Scott, Tam Tabo has the other 2 titles in the ring belt. Maybe Claressa goes over there and she fights her. Now everybody will put some respect on Claressa Shields' name if she fights Tam Tabo. Everybody will. It's another undisputed championship opportunity. And I think that would be a huge entertainment-driven event. And I can see them doing that in Canada. There will be some serious money behind that fight. But will she do it? Will her team do it? I don't know, because it seems like they want her to just win. They don't want her to be in significant challenges. They want her to just win. Got some DJ Khaled all up in their ass. All up in their ass. So one fight can create an entirely different career. It just depends on what happens. But, best and worst case scenarios, look, I'll just tell you. For Shields, she just controls the center, breaks down Scott, wins convincingly. Her commercial value, maybe it increases, maybe it doesn't. Who knows? I doubt it will because of how toxic she's become. And plus, everybody expects her to beat Kaye Scott. But worst case for Shields, maybe Scott neutralizes her offense, wins the decision, and creates major question about Shields' next moves. You know what I'm saying? Then the best case for Scott, she comes in there and proves everyone wrong. She has enough IQ to compete with Claressa. She belongs. She executes the game plan perfectly, frustrates Claressa after the second and third round, scores the biggest victory of her career. But in the worst case, she comes in there, early rounds especially, gets trapped in prolonged exchanges. Next thing you know, Shields dictates the fight and hits her with the Flint, Michigan, man, please. Killer combination has Kaye Scott chest to canvas, ass in the air like at a Diddy party or an OnlyFans photo shoot. So the difference, I think, is just execution. Now, my final prediction for this whole thing, I don't know, but I think somebody in Atlanta, I think there's going to be some violence outside the ring. I think there's going to be a melee. I think fans are going to act a fool. I don't think he's going to be safe out there. That's just me. But I'll just tell you this on paper. Claressa has all the advantages, man. the experience at the elite level, championship pedigree, adaptability, combination punching, physicality. She has it, man. You know, like you got to give it to her. Doesn't mean that you have to like her, but as a fighter, you got to give it to her. Now for Scott, she does have time and movement, technical discipline. She's got the experience as an amateur, which she's hoping that's going to continue to show up like it did in her first 7 fights. Although she lost one and had a draw, she had 5 wins, and she did become a champion. But she got to fight at a controlled pace and stay calm and composed. So at the end of the day, can Scott keep Shields from turning the fight into a physical battle? I don't know. But if she can, especially after the first 3 rounds, I'm going to keep saying that, the fight becomes extremely interesting. If Shields successfully cuts the ring and forces exchanges, the championship's advantage becomes increasingly difficult to overcome. And then after the bell, I don't know. We got to wait and see. But I think the final bell doesn't end the story. I think it starts the next chapter for both of them. If Shields wins, okay, the legacy grows. She stays undefeated. People are going to either celebrate, others are going to complain. Content creators like myself will probably do 100 videos on her because you're going to get the clicks and views. But her commercial value, it will go up because it's at a point where people want to see her lose. Now, if the biggest fight becomes even more, and the biggest fight becomes even more valuable, which I think is her fighting Thibault in Canada or her fighting Hannah Gabriels, or maybe even, I would say, in a boxing match, someone like Chris Cyborg. But her team doesn't, Claressa's team, they don't want that. When Records needs her to keep winning. So you're going to see her in these easy fights. But I don't want to say easy fight because anything can happen, but fights where she should be the favorite. Now for Kaye Scott, everyone knows her now. No matter what happens, they know Kaye Scott. She's one of the biggest stories in women's boxing, and that's what she's going to be, especially if she gets a victory over Shields. That's going to transform her from championship to superstar. Now, if it's controversial, holy shit. The rivalry becomes even bigger. A disputed decision creates a rematch. Rematches create money, and money creates opportunities. I'll tell you what, man, before I end this video, the fascinating thing about Shields versus Scott is that their stories are completely different. Claressa Shields represents the prodigy who became an Olympic champion, world champion, and she is a global boxing star. Kaye Scott represents persistence, commitment, the fighter who took a longer road, entered pro boxing later, and continued chasing the championship dream and succeeded. One fighter is defending an extraordinary legacy. The other is trying to create the defining moment of hers. And that's what makes the matchup compelling, folks. Experience versus persistence. Pressure versus precision. Power versus timing. The established superstar, Claressa Shields, versus the determined champion, Kaye Scott. So when the bell rings, none of the contracts, social media arguments, predictions, or reputations matter. There are only 2 fighters, 1 ring, and 10 rounds to determine who truly owns the middleweight division. And hopefully that winner will go on to fight Tab Thibault, because I am telling you, she is a problem. That being said, y'all keep cool. Hope y'all enjoyed the series. About to go get my ass in Theraflu. Keep cool, I'm in the breeze.